All right, now we're getting into the cool stuff. Now we can start to control our scene with the PLC. So we've navigated the scene, we've created our own scene, we've manually controlled the scene and set up our sequence of events. But now we need to talk to the PLC with our factory I/O. So, but first thing we need to do is set up the I/O drivers. Okay, so it says an I/O driver is a built-in feature of the factory I/O, responsible for talking to an external PLC. Factory I/O includes many I/O drivers, each one for a specific PLC. You select the driver in factory I/O based on the one you want to use, and next you configure the driver so it knows how to talk to the PLC and how to read and write I/O from it. So one of the beauties is that Siemens Step 7 1200 PLCs work seamlessly with the factory I/O. So the next thing we're going to do is it says open the drivers window by clicking on File and Next on Drivers. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so let's open up let's open this guy up, this sorting station. Then maybe we can drop that 3-wire control on there in a bit. Okay, so we've got on this sorting station, we have this control panel here, and we've got a stop and a start station, but we need to talk to this with the PLC. So it says, open the drivers window by clicking on File and Next on Drivers. Alternately, you may open the drivers window by left-clicking on the current driver displayed on the status bar. Okay, so we got to go to File and Drivers, File, Drivers. Okay, and at that point, what are we going to do? Select your Siemens Step 7 1200. Okay, so let's do that. So I've already got that selected, but you would go down if you had now Bradley Micrologics. You would go here, right? The Siemens Step 7 1200 is right here. Okay, next thing to do is click the configuration driver button to set up the driver according to your PLC model and IP address. Okay, so let's do that next. Okay, so I go to configuration. There we go. And so I'm going to use my Ethernet adapter. It has the IP address already there for the PLC that I'm going to talk to. The model is the Step 7 1200. Alternately, they have the 1500 there. Okay. I wouldn't click on this auto connect. I like to be able to connect and reconnect as needed. And the numerical data type is going to be D-word, which I'm not sure what that means yet. Okay. Let's take a look and see whether we've jumped ahead too much. Okay. So, we've got Step 7 1200. Okay. Looks good. And now we're going to talk to that PLC. Okay. So let's get the Step 7 1200 up and running. Well, let's see. I don't have my Step 7 software open. So let's see if it even talks to it without your portal actually open. So let's do connect. Now all I have is I have right now an Ethernet cable over to my modem, and then from there I've got to go into my PLC. But I believe you can just take an Ethernet cable right from the back of your laptop into your PLC, and you should be able to connect up. Okay, so we're going to hit connect. It's going out. Hey, that's cool. So I didn't even have to have my Siemens portal open. It was able to tone out and talk to that PLC. Excellent. Okay, let's see what the next thing is. Okay, it says connect. Okay, that's done. Successful connection will be indicated by green sign displayed next to the driver's list. Okay, let's just double check to see if it's there. There we go. So we have a check mark right there. So we saw that. Let's disconnect again. When we connect, we'll see this rotating here, seeing that it's trying to talk to it right there. And then we see this green check mark, and we know that we're set. And we're talking back and forth between this program and our PLC. Okay. Next thing it says, note you will find some factory I/O tags displayed in the sensors list, highlighted in the image below. These tags, these guys right here, can be used by the controller so it can be aware of the status and time scale of the simulation, if it's paused, running, or in slow motion. Okay, so we may need to make use of paused, reset, running, and time scale, which is, let's go back to that drivers thing and see if it's there. Okay, so paused, reset, running, and time scale. So we may make use of that in some subsequent programs. Okay, start mapping your tags by dragging and dropping each one onto the intended port. To remove a tag from a port, just drag it back to the list Once you've mapped all the tags, set the simulation into run mode and test your PLC logic. Okay, so looking at this, it looks like everything's already there, right? So they've already set everything up with this pre-configured image here. But say I wanted to get rid of this guy, I could take the stop and bring it back over here and get rid of it, right? And I could move some things around. But based off of this program, the stop is connected into input 03. So I'm just going to drag it over and drop it in. And then we're ready to rock and roll. Okay, looks good. Okay, next thing is, if you want to know more about your I/O driver, refer to the I/O driver section. So let's do that because there was a few extra things I need to do with my Siemens PLC in order to talk to it. So let's open that up and take a look. Okay, so again, everything for your manuals are found online. So it's opened up my browser here. We have been working off of here, getting started. And if we open that up, we have done navigating, opening a scene, creating a scene, manually control a scene, and now we're on 5, controlling with a PLC. And it's brought us to I/O drivers, and the I/O drivers are right here. So we have all these different I/O drivers that are already pre-configured, and we are using this guy, the Siemens S7 1200. So let's open this guy up. Okay, looks good. This driver provides Ethernet connection to the Siemens S7 1200 and the 1500 PLCs. Excellent. Okay, so we've got to go here to configuration. Okay, so we did that already. Okay, let's keep scrolling through. Autocorrect periodically tries to connect to the PLC. Okay, but we didn't have to do that. We've already gone through these guys. There's that explanation of D-word inputs. Address offset number of D-word inputs for analog. Oh, so that's for analog sensors and actuators. Okay, let's keep going. So we have everything about analog values, and that we have D-word inputs and outputs, word inputs and outputs. So the D-word is a 32-bit floating point, whereas the word is linearized between minus 27,648 and positive 27,648. Okay, and then if you're going like from 0 to 10, it's 0 to 27,648. Okay, that doesn't help us out yet. There was another place where I was. Give me 2 seconds and I'll find out where I was. Okay, so this is one of the main reasons why I make these videos, is because it's so hard to write down all your steps. And then when you get to a certain point, you're like, where did I go after this? And it's right here. So this should be blazingly obvious, seeing as it's highlighted, right? And the tutorial below. But setting up your Siemens S7 1200 is not on this page right here. It is right here. Tutorial, setting up your Siemens S7 1200. So we'll click on this, opens that up to a separate browser window, and now we can walk through this. Beautiful. Okay, so it's telling us the first thing is to create a new project in our TIA portals. So let's open that up and create a new project. Okay, so I'm going to open up my Siemens portal here. This takes a little time to open up, especially since I have the factory I/O working and the screen recorder at the same time. So we'll hit pause here and we'll wait for this guy to open up. Okay, so let's create a new project here in our Siemens portal. Okay, project number 2 sounds good. Let's call this factory I/O setup. Okay, looks good. Hit create. Again, on your computer it may take 2 seconds. On mine, it's taking quite a while. Excellent. Okay, this is what I mean with that lag on that previous video. When I open this up, like open up a new project, this doesn't ever take a long time to set up. Okay, let's take a look at what our next step is. And this is just a mint tutorial from Factory I/O. Factory I/O, you have done a great job. I love calling generic companies. Factory I/O, I don't know who you are at Factory I/O who set this up, but man, you guys did a great job here. In that you've done screenshots and everything and dropped them on there. Just mint, just a mint tutorial. I haven't had any issues from start to finish here. Select configure a device. Okay, so let's do that. And then we're going to add a new device. Okay, so let's go back to our portal. So we're going to configure a device. Okay, then it said add a new device. Okay, and while that guy's coming up, let's just scroll down. From the controllers tree, expand the Siemens S7 1200, do unspecified CPU 1200 and click add. Okay, so that's what we were doing before on previous videos on the Siemens tutorials to get them rocking and rolling. So we're going to open up the Step 7 1200 menu here. We're going to open up the CPU, and then we have all of our different CPUs here, but we're not going to say which one it is. We're just going to do an unspecified CPU. Okay, can we open this up a bit? And we're just going to grab this guy right here. Okay, looks good. And at that point, I believe, yep, we just go and hit the add. Okay, the beauty of this is that sometimes your PLCs are jammed in a cabinet, and it's pretty tight in the cabinet. The actual model number might be on the side of the 1200, right? So it says S7 1200 on the front, but the model number is on the side there, and it's a pain to try and get to it. So just do an unspecified, add it, and then we can tone out, and it will actually bring into the software the exact type of PLC CPU that we're actually using. Okay, as that's coming up, let's take a look at our next step there. Okay, so we are now going to have something like this on the screen, and then we're going to detect, right? You're now in the TIA Portal's project view, click on detect to automatically detect the PLC from a list of available devices on the network. Okay, let's do that now. Taking some time. Let's go, buddy. Okay, she finally came in. All right, so we're going to go here to detect the configuration of the connected device because we just have this generic unspecified CPU here. So let's tone out and see what's out there. Okay, now that we have this window here, let's just double check. So we're going to use the Ethernet, right? We're going to use the interface there. Okay, we might not have the same interface on our computer. And then we're going to detect whatever that is, right? So we're going to go out, find it, and then try and detect it. So let's go back to our portal now. So we're going to use the Ethernet adapter. Okay, we're going to start our search. So it's going to tone out on our network and find all the PLCs that are connected in. There we go, found one PLC, 192.168.2.10. And it's just bringing it up here. Beautiful. Okay, so now we've got it set up. So there's our PLC number 1. Okay, there's the IP address. There's our MAC address for the single PLC that I have connected up here. Okay, so we're now going to select that PLC and then come down here, and then we're going to left click onto detect. And it should be able to go out and find exactly which type of PLC that it's talking to. Okay, we got the circle of death there. It's just taking some time. Give us a few seconds and it should change this to the appropriate PLC that I have connected up. Sweet, okay, that wasn't too bad. Okay, so there's my 1212C that we've got hooked up now. Okay, if we wanted to look at this a little bit more in depth, then we can, there we go, make this a little bit larger. There we go, keep going. Be faster just to go like this and click here and then go to like 200 or 400%. I thought you could, there's another way you can go to like 200 or 400%, maybe right here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so we're just going to scroll over to see, easy now. See that PLC. There we go. Bring her down a bit. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so this is a perfect shot, like screenshot of exactly the PLC that I have in front of me. I got 8 digital inputs and I've got over here 6 digital outputs there. Okay, there's my Ethernet connection there. Let's see what's going on next. Okay, so if we scroll down here, they have a note here. If you're adding a PLC that's not in the same subnet as your computer, you'll be prompted about assigning a new IP address to the network interface. Click on yes. Later, you may have to change the PLC's IP address to the one in the same subnet as your computer, otherwise Factory IO might not be able to talk to it. So if you're not able to speak to your PLC at some point, as you're setting this up, go back to this. You may have to change the IP. I've had to do this when I'm going from work to home and back to work. And it asked me to change and provide another additional IP address, but I didn't have to do this. I didn't have to change the PLC's IP address in order to talk to it. But every once in a while, you may have to do this. Okay, the detected PLC is now in the device view. Some of its properties need to be tweaked to allow communication with the Factory IO. Double left click on the controller to open up the properties panel. Okay, so let's go back to our portal here. Let me go to 400% here. Okay, so we're going to double click on the PLC, and that should bring up our properties here. Hello. Okay, there we go. So let's see if we can lift this up a bit to see what we're doing here. All right, excellent. Okay, so we're in our properties now. Let's see what we need to do next. Start by assigning the PLC an IP address. On the General tab of the Properties page, expand Profinet Interface and select Ethernet addresses. Okay, so we'll go to this guy right here, and we're going here, Profinet, Ethernet access addresses right here. Okay, so my PLC already has an IP 192.168.2.10. If you didn't have an IP address, this would be the time to assign your PLC that IP address. Okay, there's a note below there. If you're prompted about assigning a new IP address to the network interface, you should now assign an IP address to the PLC. That's the same as a subnet as your computer. So what you need to do is, when this comes up, it'll tell you that additional IP. Just make a note of it because you may need to use it at some point. Okay, I haven't had to do that yet. Okay, so IP address is in. Number 10, this is crucial. PLC physical inputs used by the default, the first memory addresses of the %I for Factory IO to be able to write sensor values to the %I. You must offset the input addresses. We recommend an offset of 10. Click on IO addresses and change the input addresses start address to 10. So we need to negate all of the inputs on the PLC, all the physical inputs on the PLC, right? It says Factory IO should not use input addresses that are assigned to physical inputs. Otherwise, the values written by Factory IO will be overwritten as the state of physical inputs is copied to the input memory. So if you don't do this, everything will look cool. It'll seem like you'll already be talking to your PLC. You'll have your animation up from Factory IO, but by changing things on the Factory IO, it will not change on the actual PLC ladder diagram. So the next thing we need to do is go here. So we have to go D18, D06. So let's scroll down here, D18, DQ6, I guess. Okay, and we're going to IO addresses. Beautiful. Okay, and we're going to start the IO at 10. Okay, when you hit enter, then sometimes it comes up with a window saying if you want to change the tags. You can see right now that all the tags are now 10.0, 10.1, 10.2, 10.3. Okay, so let's go to our next point here. Finally, you must give full access to the PLC memory. Click on protection and select full access, no protection. Also under connection mechanisms, check permit access with PUTGT communication from remote partner. Okay, so where is that? That's under like web server, time of day, and then protection. Okay, so we are still scrolling down. Web server, there we go. Where's protection? Protection and security. Okay, so we'll click on there. And then we need to scroll down here a touch. There we go. That's easy now. What's going on? Okay, so going back to our web page here, just below here on the full access, which we have already. If I scroll up here, full access right here, no protection. And then if we scroll down, then we need to click on this, permit access with PUT/GET communication from remote partner. Beautiful. Okay, is there anything else that we've missed? Quite a few steps here. For PLCs where firmware lower than v4.0, the correct protection settings are no protection. Okay, right click on the device and select download device, hardware configuration, then start the CPU. Okay, so we now need to, now that we've made those changes, we now need to right click on our PLC here. Then we're going to go down to download to device, and we're going to download the hardware configuration. So we've just made some changes to the hardware. We're going to download that to the PLC, and it should set up everything for talking to our factory I/O now. Okay, so it's just downloading everything to our PLC. Okay, looks good. We're going to load that into the PLC. Again, depending on your computer, this will be faster. Hopefully not slower than my computer. And as soon as we're good, then we're going to start all and we'll hit finish. Sweet. Okay, so let's just make sure that we've done all of our steps. Status and actions after downloading to device. We just saw that. Okay, next step is connecting the factory I/O to the PLC. I believe we've done this already, but let's just double check. Okay, so we're going to File, Driver Configuration. Okay, then we're going to go to down here to the 1200, and then if you haven't connected it, we're going to connect. You'll see this spinning wheel, and then you should see this green turning on. Beautiful. Okay, now we should be talking to the PLC, and everything's set up with our Siemens portal now. Looks good. Let's just scroll down. We did this. Yes. Yes. And yes. Beautiful. Okay, looks good. I think everything's set up now. Okay, so last step in order to see that we're actually talking to our PLC and having a controller or animation would be to put in a 3-wire control to control this conveyor right here. So let's go to File. Let's go to Drivers. And it's going to give us our I/O. So I have set up with my stop at input 0.0, my start at input 0.1, and the conveyor at Q0.0. Okay, so let's go back to our portal here. We're now going to open up this window right here for the project tree. Then we're going to go to Program Blocks. And we're going to go to the main OB1. So I'm going to double click on main OB1, and that'll open up our main programming window. Okay, we got all this noise below here, so let's drop this down so we don't have to take a look at that. And we're going to create a 3-wire. So hopefully from previous videos you know what I'm doing here. I'm grabbing an XIC, or what they call a normally open contact, and I'm going to grab that bad boy till I see green and drop it in. That's going to be my stop. Okay, then I'm going to do my start. Okay, then I'm going to highlight right here. I'm going to put another rung in. I'm going to put another XIC. And then I'm going to close that bad boy up. Okay, and then I've got my output here. Beauty. I said that my first input, so input 0.0, was going to be my stop. Then I said that input 0.1 was going to be my start. Okay, so input. Come on, dude. Input 0.1. Looks good. And then the output for the conveyor was going to be Q0.0. Beautiful. I'm going to do an open loop control here. I'm going to put my same address there for my output. I'm just going to examine that it's on. Okay, and then I can right click on these guys. I'm going to rename the tag. That guy is going to be my stop push button. Okay, looks good. Let me just quickly double check. Stop was 0, okay? Start was 1. Okay, this guy we're going to label as start. And this guy for our output is our conveyor. Okay, oh, what happened there? For some reason, something screwed up there. Okay, let's grab this guy, looks good. Let's right click on that guy, let's rename that. There we go, and we're gonna rename that conveyor. Sweet. Okay, so we downloaded all of the hardware configurations. Now we're going to download our program there. So we're going to come to here and download to the device. Okay, again, you may have this where you have difference between what's on the PLC and what's in your program here. I'm going to continue without synchronization. Okay, so I've selected stop all here. I'm now going to load that into the PLC. And then finally we're going to hit finish. Okay, so let's get rid of all this noise here. And let's get rid of all this noise here. Okay, let's make this smaller now. Let's bring up our factory I/O. Lost communication with my PLC, so we'll reconnect. Looks good. Okay, I'm going to make this guy smaller. Looks good. All right. Okay, so what we need to do is now put our PLC into the monitoring mode. So I'm clicking on this button right here. And I should be able to monitor it now. Sweet. And as soon as you see orange at the top here, you know that you're talking to your PLC. And you can see that I have logic continuity here with my stop push button. And it looks like it's just waiting for my start push button to be pressed now. Okay, I'm now going to run the simulator. And let's back this guy up a bit so we can see what's going on. And it looks like I have continuity on the stop here. Let me hit the stop push button and see whether we see that change on our PLC program now. Oh yeah, nice, right on. Okay, so now we're actually talking with everything. PLC is talking to the factory I/O. The next step is to hit the start and hopefully this conveyor turns on. Come on, buddy, here we go. Ah, yes, beautiful. I got the microphone in so you can't hear the sound right now. Gorgeous. Everything's running nicely. Everything's backing up here because I don't have anything else on. But we can now see that the PLC is seeing exactly what's going on. And I've hit that start push button. And by pressing that, I had logic continuity across. Then as soon as I let go, the conveyor was on and this guy is keeping it running. If I hit that stop push button, it should stop the conveyor. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so we've gone through all the different steps We got our driver set up for the factory I/O. We went through all the different steps in our Siemens TIA portal, and now everything's rock and rolling, and we're able to now control this animation simply by pressing the switch. And by pressing the switch, we see it change real time on our PLC program there. Beautiful. Excellent. If we wanted to reset this guy, we can just reset, hit the start, right? And now all these guys are coming through. Hit the stop, and it stops our conveyor instantly. Beautiful. All right, guys, hopefully you were able to follow me on all the different steps. Factory I/O has done a brilliant job of setting up everything here. Really good explanations here. If you have issues, then you contact Factory I/O. I'm not an employee of Factory I/O. I just love this program, and I love the seamless workings with the Siemens TIA portal. So any issues, contact them. But if you have any comments or you've liked this video, then leave some comments below. Like and share, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks again, guys. Ciao.